Hello again. Hey Beacons, welcome to the Larry Band podcast. How have you been? Here in Nigeria, it's quite hot and a lot of math, not a given on math, but I believe that it's going on right with you and against all odds about thriving, right? Today is one session that is dear to my heart because I have a sister in the building. Whoop, whoop. And for me, the conversations we have are just not, they are not regular, they are not mundane, they are not, the depth of them, they keep you thinking. Do you know how you are having, like, okay, we are chit chatting, but then you go and you're writing things down. Wait, hold that thought. Let me quickly jot it down. How can someone think about a reward year? Have you heard those words put together before? And the concept behind it, the way she words, the way she, okay, let's use the term of one of our mentors, the way she languages her thoughts, they are clear, they are direct, they are precise. You know that this person has spent time refining the art of being excellent. And like we've promised you guys, we will not just bring people on the podcast because we want to tick off that episode that okay done that. No, we're going to bring people who will edify you, who will give you things that you need to drive towards excellence. And we're not just going to tell you, this is what we do. We'll show you how. And we've promised you, and this is me reassuring you that we'll be very vulnerable, but remember that there's a limit to how much we can share, so we will not overshare, so we will not overwhelm you, right? And also be reminded that what we do here is not to hold you hostage or make you feel little or less of yourself. It's not for you to go back and start saying, God, I have failed. It's meant to inspire you to look at what you're doing and see how much of what we're teaching or discussing can help you to be better, to do better on your journey of becoming excellent. Without much ado, it has plenty scenario, grammar, or English. Let me allow her. Let her do the honors of introducing herself, so you'll understand why she's here on the podcast with us today. So over to you.
Hello, it's nice to be here. My name is Feyintoluwa Ademola Adetubere, or as I would like to say, FTV Awakener, and I'm the privileged founder of Polished and Fit Preparatory Academy, where we basically help the aspiring bride, the bride-to-be, and the newlywed prepare more than repair as they navigate singlehood, as they navigate relationship, courtship, marriage, and the family life experience on the right foundation. And it's just a joy to be here today. Thank you.
You heard from the horse's mouth, like the popularly say, right? But then what you don't know is that she just condensed a lot of expertise, a lot of years into that brief introduction. Now, before we continue, before we get into the meat, into the theme of the matter, don't keep us as your best kept secret. Bring in your friends, bring in your loved ones. Uh, Click on the share button and share this video, like and comment. And by all means, just show some love. All right. Now, when it comes to parenting, a lot of us were not schooled on a lot of things. We started off as, you don't go school finish, you don't finish NYC. The next thing is go and marry. And when you get married, I want watchers to start looking and expecting that 3 months later you start throwing up and of course start showing signs of pregnancy, right? Nobody ever thought a lot of us had to be parents, how to do it right, how to even be married people in the first place. Because, of course, okay, for those that are married and they have children, I'm not in any way, should I say, diminishing the fact that there are a lot of people that are single parents. Nobody even schooled you, nobody even prepared you, just yourself doing something as important as raising kids or nursing a marriage without the prerequisite skills. A lot of us came in with a lot of baggage, a lot of trash we have over the years continued to work on. Now, in your dealings, in your work so far as a family life coach, dealing with newlyweds, and of course right to be. What are some common misconceptions or myths about marriage that you've encountered, and how do you address them with your clients?
Okay, thank you so much. Wonderful question. So for me, I think one of the first things I have seen people over and over again struggle with, or that they have as a wrong mindset, is that I've gotten married now, we have become one. So they do not understand the fact that becoming one, that is what it is. It's a becoming. It is not that the certificate, or we went to court, or we did a traditional marriage, or we went to the altar, so we are now one. Becoming one is not an overnight process. It is something that is going to happen over time. So that's one of the things. Some people feel like, oh, we are now one. How come? We should eat from the same plate. We should do everything because we are now one. It's a misconception. People must understand the fact that, yes, you are now one, but it is a process and it is a becoming. That's the first thing. The second thing I would say that I've seen as a misconception for a couple of people is that they believe, oh, marriage is going to fulfill all of my needs, or this partner that I now have is going to solve all the problems in my life. For me, many times I see it almost like a joke because it is not possible. There's not one person that was designed that way to be able to fulfill all the needs that you have, to fulfill every single thing, because the person is going to break down. Even you have not been able to fulfill all your needs just yet, right? You were created, yes, to need other people, but then they are not your source. They have a role to play, but they are not the source of every part of fulfillment of your life. There are certain things that other people can actually help you to do. But if you're now going to depend on this one partner that has been given to you as a gift, you can overwhelm them and you can make them to even break down if you don't utilize properly, that relationship that you have with them. The third thing is that I've noticed also as a misconception is that people believe that, oh, because we are now married, romance will be all day, every day, without any effort added to it. Some people even say, see, that's one of the reasons, right? Some people are getting married that, oh, when we've gotten married now, we are going to be doing everything every single time and all that. It's not necessarily that way, except, like I say, that you don't have anything else you're doing with your time, with your life, that you want to stay and maybe be making love all day. It doesn't happen that way. There's a lot of intentionality because there are other, will I call them, divisions of marriage that requires your attention as well. So that's not going to be the only thing that you're going to be doing in the marriage. The final thing for this particular question would be that you see people come into marriage and say, oh, that's how I am. Take me like that. No, we're not going to take you like that because that is how you are. The quality of any marriage is the quality of the individuals in the marriage. If you're not coming in as a value-added partner to that marriage and you're saying they should take you like that, that means you're going to become like a project for rehabilitation. And that's too much of a burden to put on your partner. Your partner maybe is not a psychologist or a therapist that you're trying to put that level of burden on them. We're saying you're not going to come in as a perfect person because, hey, there's no perfect person, right? You're not coming in perfect. But then you have to have a level of intentional working on yourself to become a better person so that you're going to come in, like I said, as a value-added partner and not as a burden, not as a liability, not as a project that everybody else is supposed to now attend to, but that you're coming there to also make your contributions that are positive contributions for that marriage to work and for the family to thrive eventually.
Amazing. I think this for me is a personal one, Sometimes you want to be in that, should I say, blissful place. Just want to sit and chill with your spouse. But yet, like you said, other divisions of family life, of marriage, it's okay. Family life in this instance is they are vying for your attention. And you find out that many parents are prioritizing their children's needs. Okay, they just remove the spotlight from themselves they feel like they now have the burden to put their everything, their attention, their everything. You can even be having a conversation with your spouse and your child walks in and you drop everything and say, oh my child, oh my child, oh my child. So much so that the relationship they have with their spouse suffers. Now, how can parents maintain a strong and healthy relationship while still fulfilling their parental responsibilities? I love you so much, but I also love my marriage. I want it to work. How do you strike the balance? Is there even such a thing as balance?
That's a very powerful and important question again. So what I would say is this: first of all, I rather use the word harmony. I don't really use the word balance. I rather work with harmony because I see it as harmonizing. You see, just like music, you have the different parts singing all together, right? The alto, the soprano, the tenor, all of them coming together. Same thing with the instruments. The keyboard is doing their role, the drum, everything coming together, the percussion and every other instrument coming together to produce the beautiful sound that you're hearing. Not one is maybe more important than the other in that instance because you're trying to produce something eventually. How do we strike the balance? First, we want to go back to what is important to us as a family. What is our value as a family? Is it really important to us to maintain a healthy, wholesome relationship as we are parenting? For some people, it's not important. All they just want to do is, hey, I've given birth to this child and that's it. And let me just go on with my life and do several other things that I'm doing. But then every new member that is added to the family, that's how I see them. I always say you need to have a fresh meeting. Things have changed now with the family. We need to discuss it. Just like a nation, right? I see families as nations. The same way a nation, if you have new people on board, you're not just going to say, oh, they should go into office and start functioning. You take them through orientation. There's certain handovers. There's certain things that need to happen for that family to produce at the level it's supposed to produce. And so how do we accomplish that? To see that harmony in place. As husband and wife, first of all, they need to sit down and have this conversation. We are in a totally different season, a totally different phase. We have not walked this path before. It's funny that I think for many times for the women, it looks like people feel like as a mother you have a manual. You came in, it came with you from heaven. That as you were coming, the truth is that the same day I took on a parenting role as a mother, as a wife, as a woman, it's the same day my husband also took on a parenting role as a father. So we are basically learning on that job. One thing that will help us a lot if we are giving each other grace to see that, okay, my wife does not know everything about this. Let me not over expect and overstretch her in this process. Wife also don't say, oh, my husband should also know. We are all figuring it out in that moment to see the best way. And the best way to get that is to be on the same page as a team. So we'd sit together, have that conversation. Practically speaking, you sit down together and have the conversation that now that we have this child, what are the operating procedures we are going to be working with so that we can give the best to our children and still be the best for each other. I don't want us to be the best parents in the world, yet we are the worst partners to each other. And that uniformity and that unism is not just in outfits, because sometimes you can wear anko and you are really not on the same page, or you're not functioning together as one, right? So we need to have the conversation, give each other grace in that process, and then prioritize and say, yes, we are parenting right now, but we must continue to have time for each other. So if you need to get help, which I strongly recommend, please get help so that you will not say, oh, because I'm not parenting, I don't have time for date nights anymore. We can still schedule our date nights. We can still have those moments. We've put our baby to bed. That's not the time for our device. It's a time for us to spend together. We can catch up on those moments. We can check in on each other. It's so important because sometimes, again, you're just doing life, you're running your thing, this other person is doing that. We have to consistently check in. And I say it a lot to couples. Don't just ask your spouse, how are you doing? And just say, oh, I'm fine, and we go on. No. Look at them and really say, how are you doing? Let me really know how you're doing. Where do I need to come in? What areas do you think you are maybe finding a bit more challenging? Because remember, for the woman, I'm speaking now, if you're a man maybe listening and watching, I'm speaking from the woman's place. The hormones have a whole lot that is, that it's doing to the woman's body in that moment. And she doesn't even understand everything. Some things you're asking her and say, oh, why did you do this or why didn't you do that? She doesn't even have answers for those things. Yeah. She's trying to understand why she's even feeling that way and why that is happening at all, right? So you need to, sometimes she'll just tell you, I don't know. The truth is she does not know. Really accept it that time and say, okay, I'm here for you. Let her be able to find you as a rock that is solid, that is a place of safety for her. Allow her, even moments where maybe she needs to cry, to let out the emotions sometimes. Allow her to do that. Let your spouse be that safe haven for you and not become a performance kind of partner. Because that is what, some couples have put themselves through. It now becomes like a thing of pressure of, oh, I have to quickly do this so that, oh, my spouse will not complain or say something about this. But if my spouse, I know that I can just let them really know how I really feel, how it's happening with me in this moment, then they can say, okay, I understand. I got you on this. Okay, I think you even need a break this period. Rest over this and all. So you are intentionally caring for each other, showing grace, loving each other, and really just taking out time to keep on prioritizing. While you're still present for your child, you're also present for your marriage. And create boundaries. There are moments you would spell it out, especially if your kids are already growing and they're beginning to understand what is happening with you. Or let them know this is daddy and mommy time. And let them understand and respect and honor that moment. Right? Many times, one of the things that, one of my sons, he says a lot is, any small thing, you always want to do this and that for mommy. And I'll be like, that's my wife, please. Like, wait until you have your own wife. But this is my wife and should always be priority for me. So you hear my husband sometimes say, oh, she needs to sleep. She needs to rest. Guys, come. I'll keep you guys engaged. That is standing in for each other to make sure that each person still finds time, to be themselves in the process of just trying to just parent alongside with you. Yeah.
So she just mentioned my husband will take my boys. And it's funny how we forgot to add that to our introduction. She's raising 1, 2, 3 boys. And she looks like this, like a snack. Like a snack. I think she's definitely going to come back so that she'll tell us how she's looking this way, why she's raising 3 boys. I've met her sons and they are put together. They are remarkable. They're a true definition of kings in the making. And that just reminds me of a lot of people raising boys who tell you that they are boys, they have boisterous energy, they can be ras, they can be this and that, but that's not our focus for today, right? I just thought to just interject that so that you give her flowers. I mean, the girl has to get her flowers when she's getting things right. So love upon her, dote upon her, and by all means say thank you, FT, for being amazing. Okay, so let's move on. You mentioned earlier on that some people get married and they're like, I'm married now. He has to take me as I am. Maybe that after all, he knew I was mad before he married me. But then parenting for me, or marriage, life generally comes in seasons. And each season demands for you to be entirely different, a totally new person. It demands for you to learn skills. And that's why we are here inspiring excellence in parenting. And by extension, we are first spouses before we're parents, right? Now, are there practical strategies parents can use in reinventing themselves? Okay, I've been married for a while. I've realized that there are a lot of things I don't know how to do so well. I've realized that there are a lot of baggages I came in.
Okay, so So you're going to pick this. If you've picked your book, you pick your videos, you pick your teachers concerning this thing, get an accountability partner that is going to work with you. If you can get a coach, excellent. That is going to work with you concerning this particular area and identify all of those things that you want to work on. Then pick action points. So you're not just learning vaguely, you're going to learn with an intention to actually execute what you are learning. So you pick those areas, pick these things, and then the next thing you want to do is to implement and give yourself time. So I can say over the next 2 months, I want to see how much I can pay attention to working on my emotions. After 2 months, let's do an evaluation. So I think where people get the mistake is you just say, I want to work on myself. And that's where it stops. You've never done anything practical. But with this, you get a book, get a teacher, get videos for it, get a coach, get an accountability partner, give yourself a time frame so that it's measurable. After that time frame, do an appraisal, do an evaluation. And then you can see that, I've gotten this better. Then pick another 2 months, pick another area from the 6 pillars that is also low. Pick the next one. Maybe if the other place you were scoring 2 or 3, you're going to pick the one you're scoring 4 and say, hey, let's take that 4 a little bit up and do the same thing. The next 2 months again. In a year, you'd be amazed that you have worked on the different aspects of your life because you were intentional about it and you had working strategies that you can actually evaluate. And at the end of the year, you can now look back, sit down and say, hey, what did we do here? We did very well with this particular.
Wow. That's a lot. This in itself should be a masterclass, seriously. Thank you so much, FT. Thank you so much for the quality support. Thank you for the language of it. It's not just enough to have an idea. I believe that some teachers are actually born. It's one thing to have an idea, to know it is another thing to conceptualize it and be able to word it properly, language it adequately, and teach it. You're not just telling us do this, you're telling us how, like giving us step by step. Do this. This is how you go about it. And show yourself grace. Give yourself time to really, really grow in that area. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're
Thank you. We are gradually, slowly coming to the end of this. It had to go. I wouldn't tell a lie. But then, right? Oh my God. Don't mind me. So FT's been such a session. Only us truly know the behind the scenes of this and can relate. And I say it's truly been quite something. I want to say thank you on behalf of everyone here at the Lorry brand for the time, for the energy, for the insights, for opening up and allowing yourself pour out in the way you have been sharing. Thank you so much. This other one, like I said, for question number 2, it was a personal one. There's some questions that you just know that I am asking for other people, but I know I'm asking for me. Sometimes you got caught up in the trap of parenting that you temporarily forget that you are a person and then you are someone's wife. And a lot of parents have lost themselves, lost their marriages because they now wake up as flatmates. They just now share space. They cohabit in a space and then they are co-parenting. They've lost the spark, they've lost the romance, they've lost that fire to the busyness, the many demands, especially now that to even survive in Nigeria, it's God's grace and all. Now, how can parents reignite that spark? Okay, maybe years have gone by, children are now older, the pressure has reduced, not taking inventory and seeing that have become flatmates rather. How can they reignite the romance and spark in their marriage while still parenting and juggling all the parts and pieces of bits of parenting?
Okay. So first, romance does not happen because you just desire it only in your mind. You have to take steps to make it a reality. For some people, they feel I'm too old for that, or I've grown past that stage. It's newlyweds that should be doing that, not people that are already maybe advanced in their marriage. But it's not the right mentality. So one of the things that couples can begin to do to see that there's a reignition is sometimes just take yourselves out again. For some couples, if they do an inventory, the question will be, when was the last time they even went out? When was the last time they spent some very quality date time together, where you're not worrying about anything, you've dropped the phones, no screen, nothing else, it's just the both of you looking into each other's eyes and just talking, right, and having a good time. Now, what are the things that we can begin to do on a day-to-day basis that can ensure that, okay, there's a restoration of romance? For some couples, you can resume, or will I say revisit, maybe taking a bath together. Some couples have never done that. Some couples see it as, I beg, leave that thing, and all that. No. It's one of the ways that you can begin to keep each other interested and engaged again. When was the last time? Oh, scrub each other's back. These are little treats you can begin to give yourself again. What about a massage? So there's a time I created what I call the couples bond boosters. Just boosters. Things to just boost that romance. Because like I said, marriage for me, I see it as something that would need servicing. I would rather you service than repair. Because if you consistently service, you will not have what we call an engine knock, right? It's the vehicles that you don't service, the oil is out, everything is out of order. You're just using the car like that without ever trying to see that, okay, this car I'm using, what am I doing to make sure the car is refreshed, is revived? It's the same way with your marriage. You need to revive it. And so I'll just give you just different ways you can begin to do that again. Give each other a massage. Give a neck massage, give a head massage, give a leg massage sometimes. Yes. Give a head.
Sorry. It will not lead to happy endings. I've heard that a lot of Nigerian men, anytime you just hear massage.
And you're well able, so it's not a bad thing. If it leads there, that's fine. You can enjoy everything.
Now, that's
you can
for me.
You can enjoy everything that comes with it. And even with something like lovemaking, sexual intimacy, for some couple, it's as serious as actually sitting down to take an inventory. You'll be amazed that if you do a study for like 3 months and just check in the month, how many times, like one of our counselors will say, is the bed shaking regularly? Like, so you can check, when last did the bed shake, right? So if they check and they see that in a month, you'd be amazed that, okay, maybe it was only 2 times. You now ask yourself, that's emergency already right there. That's a big problem, I'm telling you. So if you take an inventory sometimes, it can make you see that, oh, I thought we were fine. I see that we're not really doing so well here. And you can set a new target. Don't make it look like work, but you can set a target and say, okay, at least in a week, at least let's push for maybe 3 times in a week. I'm not canceling, because the work dynamics for families is absolutely different. Some people are not working maybe in the same environment, as a family together based on the season they are in. It's not something that is long term. So you might not be able to achieve something like that in that moment. So you can just work on it and say, hey, let's put in and just take that inventory there. Give the kisses regularly. Like, when last did this kiss come in? Are we just leaving it for the time of lovemaking only? Let it be a part of the regular way you live as a couple. You come back. Now, you can even begin to tie it to certain aspects of your day. If you're especially in the same environment, the same house, same space, you're not working in different cities and different towns, why not say, okay, every morning I want to make sure that before we leave for work, we share a kiss. Or before we go to bed at night, we share a kiss. Tie it to maybe mealtime. Find moments that you know that will always be around each other, and tie romance to those moments again. For some people, you can go back, look at your photo album of your wedding again. It can bring memories back and say, oh, wow, this is how we actually looked. Sometimes send a message in the course of the day. I'm telling you, it's always fun. Anytime we get to do that, I'll just be like, I'll tell my husband, I've tried for you. See how you're looking there. See how you're looking now. It's always
differences.
A whole lot of difference. And I feel like that has a way of also helping you to appreciate that your spouse has evolved also. They're probably not how they looked exactly, the years before you got married. You want to do that again. Pray for each other. It's part of romance. Your romance does not only end in just your physical touch and all of that. Spiritually, you're still bonded. So you can pray for your spouse. Send in appreciation. When last did you look at your spouse and say thank you to them? Some people have gotten so used to the things that they do for each other that they don't even see the need to be grateful anymore. But it's important that we consistently say thank you to each other. Sometimes when you're sitting together, maybe you're in your living room, you're watching something. Why are you sitting on different seats? Husband and wife. Tell me, why are you on different seats? Stay together. Let there be bodily contact consistently. Hold each other's hands. You're going somewhere. Hold each other.
Wait first. Auntie, echoes me. I'm asking for the people at the back. What if, by virtue of your temperament, you don't even like? There's some people that do not even first like hugs. I do not like those physical touches. That's it's not just their thing, really. I want to watch TV. Don't please shift. I want you to please stay on your own. Is it a problem, or can I just be who I am because I was made that way in that area?
Be who you are, but then understand what's the love language again of your spouse. How do they receive love? If they're a touching spouse and that's the way they enjoy love, you can't say, "Oh, because this is how I am." We would have to make adjustments. Marriage is for adaptation now. It's for adjustments. We need to adjust. We need to all work towards it. Don't say, "Oh, it's my comfort zone, so this way I'm going to be." If you say, "Okay, I don't even like touch so much," can we start with a little practice? Like, let's just put the leg on you, at least.
Okay.
Can we put head rests on the pressing? So you're already getting used to it step by step, right? So that when it's time for a hug, because you've experienced the leg, you've experienced the head resting on your shoulder, on your chest, the hug too should not be too much to ask for in the moment. It's becoming, it's a process.
Sure.
And you definitely get there, and it just gets better and better. And then when your spouse is making that attempt, don't tune them off. Don't say, "Oh, every time you like hugging too much and all that." That might be how they enjoy and express love. Be interested in that too, because hey, that's the person you have. You don't have another spouse. That is your spouse. Build with them and let that bond be there consistently strong. And your children, you're also inspiring them when you do that. You're modeling for them. They are seeing you and saying, "Oh, wow, okay, one day." They are not going to see marriage as something they should avoid. It becomes something they will be looking forward to because they are seeing a beautiful template from the marriage of you and your partner and your spouse. So yeah.
Yeah, and someone called it love legacy.
Right.
What are you leaving behind for your children as a template for receiving love? You know, if we have been programmed and we have traumas we're healing from, are there now new things that we're beginning to leave behind for our children, especially us women? How would we prefer to be treated? How would we want to be perceived or taken or accepted, right? Like we're discussing earlier before started the episode, we're talking about living in our feminine energy. For some of us girls, that okay, when you're crying, why are you being a baby? For instance, you have to toughen up. Big girls don't cry and all of that. You have to be strong. You have to be an alpha female. You have to be a boss chick. Sign me out, please. Log me out. So, the final question before we go to the tradition. This one is something that makes me laugh all the time. I'm very angry. I will not eat. Right. You come back, you're fighting, and then your wife brings in dinner or lunch and serves you, and you're like, because we're fighting our parents. Can you share some tips for parents on how to effectively communicate with their spouse, especially during times of stress or conflict? Because this one that I'm sorry, your hunger will beat you. Don't loud it.
Now, for times of now, conflict is inevitable. The simple reason, is that you existed or you lived your life for the number of years you have lived that life before that time, right? And that person has also lived his life before. The way we see things can never be exactly the same. Our personality, our temperaments, different things about us are not exactly the same. I'm sure you've seen people that grew up in environments where maybe when they were eating, I don't know if you've seen people like that where they have to wait, finish their food before they deal with their protein.
People is me.
right? While some other people, the way they eat, as they are eating, every spoon, every bite must be escorted with something reasonable
Please,
to support
at this point, ma, off your mic.
you know,
I relate. Yeah.
so now if you're both of you are coming from that different background, you're gonna see it as a challenge if you're seeing this other person say, why are you waiting to finish? Or the other person that is, you know, pinching and eating as they're going on with their meal. You're always going to see it as, oh, your own is the right way, because that is the only light you have been exposed to through the years. You feel like something is wrong with the other person's own. No, nothing is wrong. It's just that we grew in different environments. It's the same thing, right? So I'm not going to have a problem. I think couples should give themselves the opportunity to be bonded, yet be themselves, as per be individuals. I mean, we don't have to. What if I like hot food and you like cold food? Does that mean I won't be able to eat because it has to be hot or it has to be cold? You have to still allow people to express their individuality, even in unity. Difference is not a bad thing. No. The issue is if we are now not working with the same vision, we are not working towards the same goal as a family. That's where the challenge becomes. So if someone is in a conflicted situation where you're not happy about something, can we really learn to be adults, really, and communicate properly what it is that you're upset about without trying to attack the person, attack the situation? Remember, you are a team. It is the both of you against the world, as it were. And sometimes, you know, identify what are your stressors. Sometimes if you notice that you're always agitated very easily these days, check it out. Is there something that changed? Maybe financially that deal didn't pull through, and then you're taking it out on your spouse or on the family, and then it's affecting you. So everybody else that comes, you're just like, oh no, I don't want to talk to anybody right now. That may not be the main cause. So let's look for the root cause of what is stressing you in the moment. Oh, is it that you didn't get that promotion that you wanted to get, and so it's affecting what it is that you're doing right now? So you want to check that out too and say, hey, okay, let me identify these things. So if you like the example you gave already, right, where you're saying, I want to eat this meal, but I'm upset, and so I'm not eating. You know, the previous days, what I can call the traditional families, right? You know, these days we have different kinds of family. Traditional family, the wife will be begging, crying, telling her husband, if you don't eat this food, you know, and all of those kind of things. But the modern day women, many times, they'll even add an extra protein to the food and finish the thing the day you are hungry. So I think communicate it, especially if you have seen that kind of picture before. It's not the healthiest way to deal. I even tell couples many times, don't deal with your conflict just in the midst of the conflict alone. You've noticed something that you want to address, for example, I'll tell you, isolate the issue. Don't address it there. Isolate it at a time where you are in a good place. Because every conversation you're having when you are upset about something is going to be from a place of defense. Anything you're telling me, I'm defending myself. Anything I'm telling you, you're trying to defend. You're listening to reply. You're not listening to make any adjustment. When I'm trying to give any counsel in that moment, you're not really taking it. You're just listening for listening's sake. It doesn't really get the real job done. That's why many people say, oh, they try to resolve conflict. You know that person, oh, yeah, say sorry, hug each other. It doesn't solve the conflict. You have only just done what I call first aid on it. You have only just done something plastic. It does not really affect anything. Someone is dealing with hygiene problem. You're telling her, oh, just pray about it, or just endure, don't worry. No, that's not how to fix that. Let's take time off the situation. We'll both sit down. My love, you're going to come from a place of love, of course. My love, you have been amazing. Say the nice things they've done too. However, this has been like a concern for me for a while. This is how it makes me feel. This is what happens to me when you display this particular character trait. Can we work on it? And then the other spouse too, you have to be a good listener to say, okay, what don't you like about it? Remember, do it at a time when everything is in a very sweet place. That's the best time to actually resolve conflict. Yes. And then you fix that particular issue and say, okay, this is what, and then please have your rules. I always say, have like your conflict resolution table. and have your rules and say, okay, in this resolution, no name calling, no interruption.
Weapons
When
of
the
mass
other person,
destruction, because
you know,
you
no
just
name
drop a
calling.
grenade.
Right. Many times when you're shouting, your argument is actually not qualitative. The quality of conversation, you think is when I raise my voice, it will emphasize my point, not necessarily. Have you ever seen a judge or a king? He has to shout to show that he's giving judgment. He doesn't need to shout because he knows who he is.
Oh, wow.
So you sit in that place. You don't have to raise your voice to shout, especially if you were raised that way. Begin to retrain yourself. Especially if you go to a civilized environment, they'll think something is actually wrong with you when the way you are communicating on a good day. I mean, it's just both of us talking. Why should three people away be hearing what we are saying when we're just here having a conversation? So sit down, talk about it. And then, like I said, set those rules and work with the rules when you're going to have those times of resolving what those differences are. And then do what I call reward watching. Reward watch your spouse. If they are making adjustments, you say, oh, this person always scatters the place when they come in. Even if the adjustment they made is they just moved this from here to there, and that's what you wanted. They didn't do it 100%, but they did 60. Acknowledge that 60%. You're encouraging them to do more. But many times, spouse, if you want it to be perfect from the beginning, do everything now. The way I want it to be done, you're standing there. Instead of, what's it called? Instead of problem watch, you reward watch. So you see the reward that, okay, I'm going to reward this thing this person has done, this effort they have made, and then reward watch them consistently until the time frame you guys have put together for that action you want to be adjusted is completed. Then you can now move on to the next thing again. You continue that way, you'll see that you have less conflicts. And I also feel like as couples grow, trust me, the way you resolve things, it becomes better, especially if you're good with communication and you pay attention, you price communication, it will get better. And it will get better, yeah, for the couple.
Wow. Wow, that's a lot. That's so much. That's so value packed. All good things to come to an end, right? Now to the final questions. As part of our ending tradition on the podcast, we ask you two questions. First one is, it shocked you, like you got married. You know how we always wishing for, I want two boys and two girls.
That's how I started. It was two I said that I wanted.
Together. After a while, you're like, oh God, they don't pass like this. What came as a shock to you? You're not already a bitch like this. What was it for you?
The fact that for parenting, I think one of the first shocking things was the fact that I needed to be answering like almost 100 questions in a day from one person. Sometimes I ask them, like, don't you get tired of these questions that you're asking every other time? So I feel like so many questions, even to use the restroom, you can't even peacefully use it all by yourself, especially when they were a lot smaller. Everywhere you are, they want to be there with you.
Good.
You know, every moment I'll be like, and funny thing is that there's nothing like sabbatical leave in parenting. So you're a parent forever. So it's like an experience that changes your life forever. It happens and it has happened that that is you. Till the end of time, like you'd always be a parent. You'd always be their parent. So I think for me, that was one of the shocking things. Of course, sleep patterns changed forever. Not because they over disturb. I mean, funny enough, they were really sweet, even as infants, you know. But then it changed the sleep pattern. I didn't used to joke with my sleep before now. I knew that I was out to sleep. Everybody knows, don't wake me, don't disturb me, and all of that. But now you hear the cry of the child, and you're already up and like, oh, what's happening, and all of that. You want to attend to them. I think God designed it in such a way that there's just so much instinct in you of capacities you never knew that you had. That you were that patience, all of those things put together, I think they all came in as a shock, and I did not know that I could actually navigate through those things, especially for me that with three boys. It's a special kind of atmosphere and
Cannot
environment.
relate at all.
I didn't think that football would become important to me one day. In fact, one of the things I was excited when I was getting married was that I think my husband doesn't even like football. Apart from when maybe the country is playing, he didn't have any club, all of those, solidarity and all of that. But then one of my sons, every minute football, this. I even play football now. Because I have a number of shots I have to take with him, during the day. We just tell him, when I'm tired, I'll just tell him, oh, please, it's just a game of 3 that we're going to play. But then, I mean, now I'm a footballer, a footballer in the making squad, and I'm also playing football. If they told me that I'll play football one day like this, I probably would have argued. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the joyful things that comes with parenting. So yeah, it comes with unending hugs and other very lovely things that comes from the voice. So it's fun. It's interesting too.
Wow, see
Yeah.
me blushing and gushing from ear to ear. Yeah, I think I can relate to some of those too, because I have this, we call her moving questionnaire. But mommy, what is this?
Oh my God.
I'm really very tired at the moment. Can we ask these questions later? Okay, do you mean you need to? We're asking again. Sorry, mommy. So it's constantly a battle for me. We need them to ask questions, right? We don't want to kill that curiosity.
Of course.
While at the same time, girl, apart from being a mom, I am me now. There are times I just need to be me. So, well, I relate. I do. And finally, what's your definition of excellence?
Excellence. Beyond the definition, I sometimes just excellence is actually even a